Hey everyone, welcome back for part 2 with our friends at Upstart on bridging the digital divide. Today we're going to be talking about the Ron Bouchard group and how they're bridging the online, in-store, and financing gap. Joining us will be our hosts, Paul J. Daly and Kyle Mountseer. We'll also have Keyshawn Batts. He is the head of customer service for Upstart. And then Chad Bouchard, he's going to be the GM at Ron Bouchard, Kia, and Honda. Thanks, everybody. I'll turn it over to our hosts.
Hey, yo.
Oh, you didn't.
I did change the lights to be Upstart colors. See, I beat you on one.
Got it.
You know, I know. You missed the last one, and Keyshawn and I had so much fun without you that you're going to have to keep up and catch up. But it's fun to do the second version of, there you go. Now you match. It's fun to do this series because a lot of people in webinars, you know, they just present a ton of just data information, but Upstart is bringing dealer insights to the last one. They're bringing an actual dealer to this one. And I think that's what people really get the most value out of, right?
Well, I am sad that I missed that, but I got to see some of the data behind it. And we wanted to recap that data for anyone that maybe missed that first webinar, because it's wild that in 2024, after we've been talking about digitizing the process, we've been talking about managing the in-showroom experience when people were pressing back on DR, that we still have the discrepancy between what we want and what we have in the industry at large, right? So basically what happened was Upstart surveyed 100 different dealers that were all not on Upstart, actually, not a part of that program, from 15 different OEMs, independent franchise, and it was 100 people, but their rooftops range from 3 to 300 rooftops.
Right, so you got the full spectrum.
Yeah,
it wasn't
so you
just
got like
dealers, wasn't just little dealers, right? It was everybody.
Exactly. And so they went through, okay, what are your pain points right now as dealers when it comes to the customer experience? And those pain points were like high interest rates. We know that affordability is a big deal. Supply chain and inventory, profitability, and high employee turnover. And
we're back to that.
Yeah.
Remember, that was the big conversation, right? Pre-COVID, right?
Yeah. And when you think about just like how those employees are interacting with you, what you're doing to focus on affordability, how you're being profitable in the midst of compression in margin compression, as well as managing pricing versus high interest rates and the ability to get people in vehicles. You look at the process, you look at the people attached to that. And here's the crazy stat. This was the crazy stat to me, Paul, that while 43% of dealers say, hey, look, we can do a lot of the stuff online, right? We can, calculate payments, get some trade value, maybe even look at some financing options, some aftermarket options, all of those, maybe even do some deal documentation in our online experience, maybe the digital retailing tool on the website. Literally, all of them said, we've not fully digitized the in-showroom process.
Zero.
Wild.
Nobody. Well, I mean, it's
none.
I think that brings some levity to the situation where some people are feeling like, oh man, am I falling behind because I can't? It's like, no, we have some very sophisticated, like cutting edge dealers who have still not been able to get this done, right? Because it's not easy. It's not simple. A lot of things have to work together, and you know how it is in auto tech. Everybody works together well all the time, right?
Yeah, of course, always, right? Well, hey, speaking of working together, we want to bring on a couple of people that are working together. That's Keyshawn Batts, head of customer success at Upstart, and Chad Bouchard, GM of Ron Bouchard, Honda, and Kia, like Anne-Marie mentioned. So let's get them into this because, hey, we can talk for a long time, but until we get the actual practitioners, the people putting it to the ground, hey, we're just words. So let's do it.
Today's car buyers demand a modern customer experience. Connect with Upstart Auto Retail to deliver the experience they deserve.
All right. Welcome, friends. Keyshawn, it looks like your wife, who is a celebrity stylist, still is not letting you wear the flat brim when you're on prime time. I think y'all are muted. Hold on. We probably muted you when you came in.
No, she is not, and I'm thankful for the shout out and the shameless plug that I provided. So I appreciate that.
Chad, if your wife is a celebrity stylist, she has a differing opinion than Keyshawn's wife, but with the hat on today. Well, thanks for joining us. It's really good to see you again, Keyshawn and Chad. It's good to be with you for the first time.
Yeah, thanks for having us, guys.
So Chad, the group was started by your dad, correct?
Yep. Yeah, we started in 1986 with a Honda store. That was our first franchise.
Can you give us like a little bit of a summary on, from that moment till now, like what your journey has been throughout the group to the position you're on now?
Yeah, I mean, so I started off cleaning shops, cleaning cars, moved my way up to selling cars when I was in college. So that, brought me to like about 2008. And then after college, I played professional golf for like 6 years, some mini tour stuff. And my dad got sick in 2009. 2015. Well, he got sick originally in 2009, and then in 15 got sick again. He had cancer. So at that point, I had to make a decision on my golf career or this career. And I'm glad I made the decision I made, because it's always interesting, but it's fun working with people and working with cars, and just nice to see the business grow, really, since he started it back then. So kind of a pipe dream, but here we are. So it's nice to be with you guys and nice to share my experience with Upstart and myself.
It's awesome. So
I will say though, your filter's a little off. It's green, but it's not Upstart green. So
it's not.
You might want another filter.
We need a little like blue green in there.
Mine's closer than Kyle's.
Unbelievable.
I think our brand team would say it's debatable. So.
Yeah, right. It's more of a gradient.
Chad, let me ask you this, because as a second gen dealer, and when we talk to a lot of second gen dealers, there's kind of two things that typically, and maybe you don't fit the stereotype, but correct me if I'm wrong. Like there's the identity of carrying on what the family legacy is, right? And your mom is obviously carrying the mantle of dealer principal, but so it's carrying on that family legacy, but also ensuring that a progressive mindset, from the new generation in auto is a part of your individual legacy. What does it mean for you to continually push the boundaries at the stores that you've been given the responsibilities for right now in the current status of our industry?
Well, I think it's important that you have a vision, and you can't forget some of the things. When COVID happened, it was like, we're all going to be selling cars online. Well, we know that didn't happen, right? There was elements that happened, and we continue to use those elements for a better sales process. But you got to have everybody buy in, and you got to cultivate your people. I mean, you take people from other stores, this is the way I've always done it. But when you're able to grow your own people and have a vision that everybody wants to buy in, it makes it a lot simpler, right? But you got to show them that it works. You can ask them, you can bring them to the water, but they got to drink. So it's got to work. And, we have Upstart in all the stores. There's a very varying level of success in the stores, and that's part of the culture. So, we talked about it earlier. We have one store that's really doing well. Everybody's doing a great job with the DR tool and desking in store. Now moving on to the lending side, it's just getting that buy-in. So as the stores become more and more successful, which we're off to a good start, you'll get that buy-in. So it's been exciting, and it's a process that our customers like and our salespeople like. So it's nice to do something different.
Before you guys decided to partner, particularly with Upstart, like what did the process look like, and what did you desire that you needed to make a change in your organization and the way that you conducted business, so that you could serve customers and maybe even also employees at the same time? What was the impetus for that change, and the desired final state look like?
Yeah, I mean, it really started. We were looking at the DR tool. We liked the engagement more on the DR tool, and then this business is all about peer referrals, I feel like. And I had a friend that was using Upstart that was doing really well with it, and he was giving the salespeople autonomy to desk deals within parameters and use less people, but keep his best people, and less manager interaction and back and forth from the desk. So the DR tool transitioned better to the in-store desking tool, because a lot of that information would.
Oh no.
Oh, we just lost him. He'll be back. He'll be back. While he's gone and getting back in the room. Oh, here he is.
Oh, that was weird. Sorry about that.
Magic trick.
Yeah. Wow, he's on the other side.
So yeah, as that process really evolved from the DR tool to the desking tool in store, it made it a better process for the customer. And also just that fresh customer, the check-in process was a lot easier. They had the ability to fill a lot of the forms themselves with the tablets. And, you know, you look more sophisticated when you're doing things right in front of the customer, more transparent. They're filling in things themselves. And then just the Upstart desking process it really was our sales process. So it was really seamless when it came to that. Just getting some of the guys and girls used to the technology is one thing, but customers like it, salespeople like it. I always remember the first deal when a salesperson closed a used car without a touch from the desk.
Wow.
With no trade. And everybody was like, what do you mean you sold the car? We didn't even talk to the customer. Like, oh, great. That's fine. So yeah.
I'm sure that feels good for your salespeople. Do you get that feedback where like, they're like, I feel like I have power, you know, like it's probably fun.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these guys all want to be, most of these guys or girls want to be a manager one day. Right. So
yeah,
I think that's part, they can close they can close their own deals anyways, but I think they have the more ability to work within parameters and do that. So, and customers too, they feel like everything's in front of them. It's not back and forth from the guy behind the desk. Right.
I think that ties back. I'm sorry to cut you off.
Okay.
I think that ties back to one of the points from the dealer survey that Upstart did, where one of the pain points that came up was employee turnover and the people. And it sounds like this not only requires less people eventually or in the long game, but it also allows you to really cultivate the people that you have. Right. And like you said, a lot of them want to be a manager, and this moves them like one step closer to understanding the full circle of things and seeing it from start to finish.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, part of the transition, our desking process too, during COVID, we made a decision to not charge over MSRP on 99% of our stuff, other than the real rarity, rare vehicles.
Right.
So we really focus on service contract penetration, lease wear and tear, lease protection, some of that stuff on the first pencils. So really a lot of salespeople, and it's been the last couple of months, we've had 5, 6, 7 salespeople across the 5 stores that all want F&I experience now. And I think it really ties into them. It's the people that are successful selling service contracts on the floor. So it was good timing because payments were super high from other dealerships, way over MSRP, and we were coming in a sweet spot with a service contract, right? So it was easy sell from a number standpoint. But these guys, they felt more empowered, and I think that's some training right there.
Keyshawn, when it comes to like customer success, but also product, one of the biggest difficulties in our industry is that like what we would maybe call the last mile of the delivery, right? Salesperson feels good. They do the walk around, they do the test drive, come in, maybe things are agreed to fairly quickly, but then we hit this like major roadblock where the funnel of 15 salespeople going to 3 F&I managers and bank submissions and long time to do that has constantly been an Achilles heel, especially on a busy Saturday. When Upstart's looking at product roadmap or even products that have already been released, how are you all considering supporting dealers with the ability to do some of these new things like financing or looking at final deal docs and what is the capacity current day for that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a great question. One of the things that we talk about and a value add to our dealers is our ability to automate so many of the processes that are manual today, right? A customer that has challenge credit has to come in with POR, POI. They got to find 5 references, whatever it may be, right? A lot of the data that we have in our machine learning models can automate that process, right? To predict a customer's likelihood of misrepresenting their income, be able to geo-fence and understand where the customer lives based on the address that's provided. So a lot of the things, as you think about the last mile getting into the box, and it's a crazy Saturday, some of that is just like trying to get paperwork. Like, hey, you want to go use this computer, log in and print out your pay stub. Hey, you need to go log here and go to Verizon and print out a phone bill, right? Like a lot of that work we automate and we reduce the amount of steps that we provide to the dealer. And then as you think about future roadmaps, I give a shout out to our VP of product, Rob Francis. Like, we're thinking of those things, right? We're thinking of how we can improve the process even more as we think about dealers like Chad that want all the technology that's available, all the things that are ready, and want to beta test things. So we're listening to the voice of our customer and really understanding how we can inform our product roadmap with things that will delight them and things that will surprise them. So we are constantly chronically discontent about the current state of our product and how we can make it the best thing possible for innovators like Chad.
I'm getting you a t-shirt. It's going to say chronically discontent. Right there. That's perfect. I like that a lot.
I stole that one, and hopefully the guy's watching. But yeah,
got it. But you're not going to say his name. Hey, Upstart recently just got into the personal loan space. Tell us how that happened, because having that arm of it brings you even, I think, closer to the needs of the customer.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great question, and we've been in personal loans for 12 years now. So when we got into personal loans, it was about the same mission and vision we have today of making affordable access to credit, right? Personal loans for traditional retail banks are a risky product that they tend to steer away from. And we thought that we could find ways with our machine learning model and with really cool products and demand generation, find a niche in that market. And we've done exceedingly well, right? We went public during the pandemic, all on the foundation of that success. And as we got into auto, we used some of that same philosophy and logic to say, hey, how can we make car buying more affordable for customers, right? Are there some customers out there today that are paying 29%, but their true risk says 12%? But let's just say they happen to be a thin file that just graduated from USC and are now working for Tesla, right? They don't have any credit, so they're a thin file. They may have no score, right? That customer's making a lot of money. That customer's probably going to repay. Do they deserve a 29% APR? Probably not. So that's how we think about like making true affordable access to credit. And, for people like Chad, it helps them sell a car, right? That same type of customer is not going to pay $1,100 a month for their first car because they have to get a 28% APR. But if we can come in and give them a competitive rate that is based on their true risk, Chad can sell a car, right? And Chad also doesn't have to go run after POI or POR. So that's how we really think about making the process better for consumers and the users of our product.
Chad, you said that you just recently kind of brought in the financing piece of everything and the lending piece. What's been the early feedback from in-store, and what are some quick wins or successes that you've seen from it?
Yeah, well, good news is, Keyshawn, I'm never going to have to chase those steps. That's on the business managers. But
that's cold-blooded.
No, sometimes, hey, look, I mean, I'm going to chase them if they don't have them. So funding's, let's talk about funding, right? So, I mean, you guys help streamline the funding process. We currently rolled out a new finance plan that gave these guys a bonus bump if they got their funding into a place that was, what we consider acceptable. It was 10 days, right? That was like the industry standard. Now we're looking to be below 8 days, below 5 days, because we use things like Upstart, and there's other electronic funding out there. A lot of the OEMs do it as well. But I was talking to my GSM the other day, and there was a father with a daughter buying a car for the first time. You kind of get the sense that he was really teaching her how to buy a car, right? So kind of using us as an example. He was also worked for a bank. So I think they came in at, let's just 6.8, 6.89 or something like that. And he was outside financing, right? So how do you convert this? These mostly cash outside finance customers are pretty smart. They know what they're talking about, especially this gentleman working at a bank. The general sales manager, got the business manager involved, and let's just try. We have this new tool, Upstart, AI lending. They came back like 0.8 of a point lower. It gave us an opportunity to keep the inside financing, which is huge right now with so much outside financing. So I thought that was a recent big win, and someone that was never going to be converted before until we partnered with Upstart and started utilizing this technology.
I'm guessing there was some transfer of trust there needed outside of just like, hey, we got you a better rate, that happened through the process, right? Like, I see that you're digitally savvy. I see that you, like, as a consumer, I see that you're mapping to not just like saying, I got you a better rate, but for someone that works at a bank that knows how to get pre-approval outside lending, they're savvy enough to go, is this also going to be a good like post-sales experience with the lending experience? And that would breed confidence if the trust was transferred. right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, in terms of lending, Upstart relatively new to us in the car business, but I've heard about them before, but just not in the car space.
Mm.
And you get a lot of people that have had loans, have been marketed to by Upstart. So it's not entirely new to them. So I guess just putting two and two together for that gentleman and other customers. Yeah. And then the tangibility of seeing things right in front of you on a tablet rather than a paper credit app behind the desk to get submitted to who knows. Yeah, transparency, technology, it's all good stuff.
So as we're kind of rounding the corner on the final lap, I think one question that a lot of people have when it comes to implementing new technology, new platform, number one, right, is it a quality platform? Number two, what does the rollout look like? And so maybe, Chad, you could share some of your experience and what it was rolling out this tool across the group. You know, maybe any little tips or process tips that you could share with other dealers, I think is always a big question and consideration when people are making a decision to change something.
Yeah, we started at one store. We started at our Kia store. They've had the most success. It's a store that I'm in. This is something that I championed and got the buy-in from my GSM. And we were just talking about our finance manager at Kia. He's really bought in. He's been doing a great job with Upstart. So I guess just getting that buy-in from, if you have multiple franchises, from one store, just get the process down. But the thing that made it easy for me was the sales process is the sales process within Upstart for ourselves. So it didn't change the process at all. It just made it easier to collect the data that was there and then follow the steps that we're so used to. So it was a pretty easy transition.
That's a big deal because change management is always the fear, right? Like what do I have to do in my stores? What type of training? Is that, you know, Keyshawn, from like a product standpoint, is that pretty flexible and built that way so that different processes, different stores are, you know, able to implement based on the way that they feel fit?
Absolutely. I mean, you think about it, each store generally operates differently, even within a group, right? Sometimes you have finance managers submitting deals. Sometimes you have a GSM. Sometimes you just have somebody at the tower. So yeah, and sometimes we have a single point of contact in stores. So we do make the product as flexible as possible to cater to the many different sales processes and still new sales processes that we learn about every day with new dealers. But yeah, for sure, we make it flexible with that intent of delighting the dealer and the customer.
I don't remember who said it, Kyle, but basically it said, you know, in every situation, tech should serve your process, not the other way around. And, you know, it sounds like, you know, Chad, in your situation, the tech did serve your process because your process was already in place. And I think a lot of people get tripped up when they try to say like this tech is going to solve an issue, and then like they rearrange process to meet the tech, and then it throws everything off. So it was good to hear, Keyshawn, that you guys implement like a lot of different processes and understanding that finding the way to plug the tech into an existing process and flexibility there is an important part, because one thing we know for sure, no two dealers do it the same.
Right. For sure. For sure.
It's like the old joke. If you get 3 rabbis together, you'll have 5 opinions, right? Same thing, right? Same thing with 2 dealers. Same thing with dealers. It translates.
2 dealers, 9 opinions, actually. The math actually goes a little bit more.
Talk about tech. I want to remind everybody listening and watching that we will be including the survey that we've referenced, as well as a case study from Chad's group in the recap email you're going to be receiving after this closes, along with the recording, so you can watch that as well. I just want to make sure we talk about that. We usually leave a little time for Q&A. We do have a little time for Q&A. I don't know if we have any cues, but we'll just see if anyone pops anything up in the chat, because our team's monitoring things. If not, any burning desires to share, Keyshawn or Chad, from your part, anything context to the conversation or something you want to bring up?
Keyshawn said you can call him about his hat game, is basically the way that
you know, surprisingly enough, I do have a fair share of hoodies and hats, but you know,
we don't believe you.
My wife always says protect the brand. So
I like it. Well, Keyshawn, Chad, thank you so much for joining us today on this Edge webinar and for sharing exactly how you all have worked together to implement a really cool change that I think we're seeing a lot across the industry, utilizing different technology and different processes, and just speaking to how that was worked within a couple stores in the Ron Bouchard group. So appreciate it. We'll toss it back over to Anne-Marie to close us out. Thank you all for joining us here on the webinar.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And thanks to our friends at Upstart, to Chad and to Keyshawn. If this is your first time joining us, you can check out the first part of this webinar on our website, ASOTU.com. Check out our webinars page. And as Paul said, we're going to be pushing out the final recording as well as the case study. So if you know anyone who would benefit from it or you want to share it with, forward it to them. And we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot.